identity, defining where you come from, defining who you are. If you are lost or something happened to you, what people can easily identify you with is an ID card.
Nigeria has one of the poorest borders on the face of this earth, and of course the migration issues has not helped issues, which is why we have proliferations of so many and then people around our environment, which stated a call for our people to go to register at the National Identity Management Commission so that we can have an adequate data. Because no meaningful development can ever take place in any given society when the government does not have the exact number of the people, particularly in the youth constituency, because this will help in the process of policy formulation and identification.
Because in acquiring something in the future, you must have a national identification card. And two, the influx of people from nowhere to where we are today, we must have a statement that will give us a benefit of a right of becoming citizens of this country. So we should have a national identification card to differentiate and to make sure that the chaff is not mixed with the
issue of identity card. I think that there's a little that needs to be done. People are not fully aware of the advantages of having a national ID. The first thing is it helps government in planning. It helps government in identifying the number of people that are Nigerians. It helps government to determine the amenities that are required in certain areas, because by having a total number of people that are 18 and above, it will assist government in sharing out certain amenities that will be required by the populace.
The National Identity Management Commission was established by an act of parliament to provide legal identity to every individual resident in Nigeria, whether he be a Nigerian or a legal resident. Now, this legal identity starts from the process of when one comes into being, in whether by birth or by immigration into Nigeria, and then it follows the person right through the end being either when life gives way or when the person leaves the country if he's a legal resident in Nigeria. Now, that is the purpose for which we are here. We are not just supposed to give identity cards. We are supposed to manage your identity for the period in which you are in Nigeria.
So these things are very, very, very important, especially where we are getting into a digital age. And without that, believe me, you're in trouble if you do not have your national identity card.
I was mistaken on my way to Cross River some time back to be a foreigner. And if you don't have the national ID card, how can you define yourself? And if you are proud of Nigeria, and we are proud of the green, white, green, and we are proud to be a Nigerian, we need to have our ID card. It is a civic right.
You know that you are truly a Nigerian by having a national ID card. It facilitates in other things, like when you're opening a bank account, when you want to travel outside the country. These are things that they ask for.
And recently, of course, the federal government had made its own mandatory that before you get enrolled either in the police, in the army, or in the immigrations or civil defense, you must produce the national identity number. And of course, that's a sine qua non for getting the national identity card, which is why we are using this opportunity to call massively on the youths of the Plateau and then people in general to get to the National Identity Management Commission and get registered.
Identity has been at the forefront of every human existence. It is only when you can be identified from different perspectives can you be able to assert yourself with where you stay, where you live, and where you participate in the activities of your community. Now, for us here in Nigeria, you would notice that for a long time, a lot of things are not properly done, for the simple fact that when programs are set out, when things are supposed to be done, it is very difficult to understand who is supposed to benefit from what. And so the importance of the national identity can be looked at from three perspectives. The first is from the perspective of the economy. This is a situation where a lot of times the government has programs, policies, things that are supposed to help grow the economy. But for the fact that people cannot be identified to benefit from these particular things, because of the fact that we don't have a database, it becomes difficult. Take for instance employment. Most times when government wants to do employment, it is looking for people from a certain category, age, height, other things like that. And because there is no real database, people manufacture different ages, at the end of the day, you see that people may get employed to positions for which they do not have capacity. And because of that, the government fails in whatever programs it's trying to achieve.
We have shouted it among the church leaders, among Christians in particular. One day, we will ask churches to stand by the door, and any person that comes in, we will say, show your national identity card. I've mentioned it, I will continue to mention it, and again, I am pleading that the youth will kindly be patient enough to go to where they are so that they will register.
And it is a civic responsibility. If you are a law-abiding Nigerian, you need to go and queue up and get that identity card that belongs to you.
To enroll into the national identity database, you, as a Nigerian, there are two sets of enrollments for Nigerians and for legal residents. So for Nigerians, you need to be a Nigerian citizen. And then secondly, you need to have what is called a proof of identity. Under this proof of identity, there are several documents that are accepted. I would list some of the documents, but I need to emphasize that only one is required per person. So if you have any one of the following documents, you can enroll in the National Identity Database. The first is the national, if you have one. The second is a international passport. The third is a driver's license. The fourth is a voter's card. Fifth is a school ID. Sixth is an indigent certificate. Seventh is a birth certificate. And because of the nature of Nigeria, in cases where you don't have any of those listed, you can approach a community leader, a religious leader, to give you a letter of introduction, which we accept to enroll any Nigerian, any citizen of Nigeria. That's for enrollment for Nigerians. So it's just a straightforward thing, just one document and you yourself in person. Now, for legal residents, those people who are in Nigeria from other countries legally, not illegal residents. So legal residents are also obliged to register. You are going to need certain documentation from the Nigerian Immigration Service, which gives you, there are some kinds of permits for you to be in Nigeria. It states the time you will be in Nigeria, it states who you are, from what country, and all those. So based on those documentation, we would register legal residents, and then they can now get a card for the period in which they will be in the country. So basically that's all you need to be registered in Nigeria.